Hey, both Steve and Bob have talked, and they've said it before, how they want you guys to enjoy the season. Never understand you've got house money, you've won 3 championships. Who knows how long this might last? Is that in your mind right now? Do you think of it that way, or maybe do you have a different approach?
I mean, I definitely don't approach it like we're playing with house money. We do have 3 championships. They're all in the past. It's about approaching each year with that same goal and that same mentality. And the moment you get to the point where you're like, oh, man, we're just playing with house money, we already got it, you're done. And none of us are ready for this run to come to an end. So we got to continue to approach it like we got 0. And that's cliche and impossible to do. But you want to try to get as close to that as you possibly can. And that's my mindset always entering the season.
Front row, right-hand side, Mark.
Hey, Draymond, what's your philosophy overall with the idea of extension talks? What sort of things are you weighing as far as how open you would be to that versus just waiting?
This is a business, so you always have to explore those options, and see what makes sense, what doesn't. I'm confident that I'll be here for a very long time, so it's not something I'm going into the season thinking about. Like, all that stuff will be taken care of when it's best for me, when it's best for the team. I think, I'm not looking at this one-sided like, oh, man, I got to do what's right for Draymond. Like, it's a partnership, and it's a family, and doing the right thing for everyone involved is important. And so, we just got to approach this the right way. And when the time is right, all that stuff will be taken care of. But I'm not going into this season thinking about it.
Center section, third row.
Draymond, Jason Dumas, Crown 4. I know during the offseason when you're going through your workouts and stuff, you're typically just worried about yourself as you try to get better. But as the season approaches, have you gotten a chance to kind of take a look at the landscape of the rest of the Western Conference and see what other teams have done? And if so, who do you think has kind of gotten better this offseason?
I mean, I'm a fan of basketball, so I'm always, just interested in what's going on, watching all the moves. I think some teams have improved. Obviously, the Lakers hasn't, look like they're going to improve, and several other teams. At the end of the day, I think a lot of people count the Spurs out. Like, they're going to be good, so they're always good. So it's going to be teams that are really good, but, I approach it the same way. If we play our best game, our best brand of basketball we can play, we'll win. And so that's my focus, on us being the best us, knowing that if we are, it really don't matter what anyone else does.
Front row, right-hand side, Jeannie.
Hi, Draymond.
Hey.
I know you've said in the past that DeMarcus is the best big man in the league, and you have a lot of respect for him. How much do you look forward to once he's healthy, working him in? And also, Jordan Bell wants you and DeMarcus to scrap a little bit on the court and get into it, and he wants to commentate. So what's your take on that potential lineup?
I mean, definitely looking forward to DeMarcus getting healthy. Obviously DeMarcus is one of the most talented players in our league. Most people see, oh, man, DeMarcus with the Warriors, they won. And it ain't that easy. Like, that's 26 points a game you're working into the lineup. Like, it's tough. But that's the fun part. The fun part is making it work. I think back to when KD came here. Everybody, oh, man, they got Kevin Durant and they won 73 games. It's over. And honestly, the fun part wasn't winning the championship. The fun part was during the year figuring that out on how we was going to make that work. And I'm looking forward to the same thing with DeMarcus. As far as me and DeMarcus scrapping it out, what did he say, scrapping it out? Why Jordan want me to fight? Why he won't fight? He a young guy. He should be the one wanting to fight. I'm getting old, so he can have that.
All right, front row center, Logan.
Hey, you kind of spoke on DeMarcus, but he's probably going to be out for the onset of the season, which means there's going to be like a 3-way battle for the center position. How does that affect you? How does that affect you with the team and just running the offense and defense, knowing you'll have a younger guy there than in previous years at center?
I mean, it's, I think with having a younger guy there, obviously, comes with more athleticism, more speed. That's just kind of the nature of the game that we play. So it may speed the game up for us a little bit. But, with not having a Zaza or D West or Bogut, D Lee, it's different. That'll be a different feel for us. Nonetheless, what those guys that came before these young guys has taught myself and these guys is important. And you take those things that they've taught you and the things that, all three of those guys I mentioned has given to this organization, and you try to add them, incorporate them into your game. Like I said, I think it'll be a different look, but nonetheless, all three of those, well, two, and I still think last year when we played Houston, Damian won us a game. So all three of those, or OKC, I think it was. All three of those guys has played significant minutes for us, and especially Damian and Jordan. Kevon and Jordan. They played some significant minutes in the finals, conference finals, and they'll have an opportunity to get some big minutes, and I look forward to them competing for them.
Far left-hand side, standing up against the curtain, Mindy.
Hi, Draymond. Mindy Bach with ABC7. I just read your Instagram post. You said you didn't want to talk about last year till you were ready because it was the hardest season you'd ever been through. It was so hard. You're ready to put it behind you. But how do you build on that? What do you take from that season into this year where the expectations, you could say, might even be even higher for this team?
Honestly, I don't even feel expectations anymore. Because our expectations for ourselves are so high that I don't really feel expectations from anyone else other than who's in this every day. Our coaching staff, our players, our front office, everybody who works in this organization who's a part of that grind every day. I don't feel expectations from anyone else. So that's that part of it is irrelevant to me. How do we build on that? You take the experiences that we went through, and you learn from them. The good and the bad. You try to take the good with you, but you don't leave the bad behind. You learn from those, so you don't go through those again. And I think that's how we'll build on it. And that'll be our focus. And as far as me not commenting on the finals, it was the toughest thing I've ever been through in my life. Just last season, like I said, that Houston series was so tough. Even the finals, everybody like, oh, man, y'all won easy because y'all swept. Like, that wasn't easy. Like, it's not easy to sweep a team that makes it to the NBA Finals. By far, one of the toughest things I've ever done in my life was winning that championship last year. And afterwards, I didn't want nothing to do with it. I didn't want to think about basketball. I didn't want to think about the run. None of that. I didn't even want to see the trophy. Guys, we get an opportunity to, take the trophy back home or wherever you want to go. I wanted no parts of it. It was so tough that I really needed to decompress from that and just get away from it for a while. It wasn't something that I really wanted to think about. Now, we move forward and, appreciate what we did last year, but it's time to try to do that all over again.
Left-hand side, second row, Phil.
Draymond, kind of related to that last question, but at this point in your career and in the evolution of this team, is it enough to just say, hey, we're all professionals, we'll approach this as we always have, we'll do our best to win? Or do you need to find new ways, creative ways of motivation?
I think every season comes with different challenges. And I think, we've won a championship 3 times in 4 years now. To sit here and say, oh, man, we're going to have that same excitement and enthusiasm that we had in year 1, it's a lie. It's just not possible. And so I think you kind of get to the point where you find games within a game. And, making DeMarcus fit and figuring that out. Figuring out the first however many months of the season of having 3 guys who's under 3 years of experience total? Not total, but under 3 years of experience competing for the center spot. How do you make that work? We lost veteran guys, so how are you figuring that out? It's about games within the game at this point, and when you're trying to figure those things out, you get better. And every day you're not looking, saying, oh, man, how do we get back to the finals or how are we going to win a championship, because you're trying to figure other things out. Then when you get to that point, you're ready for it. And so I think that's the most important thing for us. And, I think those challenges will be stiff enough for us to focus on them and get those things done. And then, the playoffs and all that stuff will come when it does.
3 more for Draymond, starting with Tim, second row, left-hand side.
Hey, Draymond. You talked about how tough last year's championship was in your last answer. Everybody here has talked about that. Steve and Bob mentioned earlier how they don't want to have that kind of be the message to harp on how hard it was, like you guys did a lot last year. Is it freeing in a way that coming into this season with there being so much uncertainty in the future about the organization with guys' contracts and stuff that you guys can maybe just say, like, hey, let's just go out and, enjoy this year together, and then we'll figure out what's going to happen after that?
I think that's what it will be. We're not going to go this whole season talking about how much uncertainty it is as far as contracts. We got the team that we got right now, and you got to win with that team. When all that stuff comes up, it'll get handled. But right now, we're all together, and that's the most important thing, is trying to be the best that this team can be. Everything else will take care of itself.
2 more, front row, right-hand side here, Carl.
You talked about getting old. You're starting a season with Andre Iguodala for, I think the 6th or 7th year. I mean, a lot of people judge his career and have a difficult time doing it because they don't obviously see a lot of his game in the numbers. What kind of case could you make for him for the Hall of Fame?
I mean, he's been doing this for years. He's had times in his career where he put up the numbers. He had time in his career, where the numbers weren't there, but his impact was there. NBA Finals MVP, 3 championships, Olympic gold medalist. The resume is there for sure. All-star. The resume is there, and I think, he's done enough to solidify that. But I also don't think he approach every day saying, how do I get into the Hall of Fame? He's just not that type of person. But what he's done for this organization and this team, and what he's done for every organization that he's played in, he's made them a better organization by way of him being there, whether it's Philly, Denver, or here. He's made a better organizations and better teams. So, I think his case is solid, and, he'll continue to build on that resume.
All right, 2 last questions, front row, left-hand side.
Yeah, if you win Defensive Player of the Year this year or get All NBA, it bumps up the earning potential on your next contract. Is that something that you can or will use as a motivating factor in a regular season that I know can sometimes be mundane?
No. Because I've never been one to do anything for money. I've never played basketball for money. I play basketball because I love basketball, and those are the things that's made me successful. I'm not going to get to age 28, like you're 23 of playing basketball and switch that up now, because that hasn't been what's successful for me. What's been successful for me is my love for the game, my passion, and just having that drive to want to win. And when you do those things, when you're playing for the right reason, everything else seems to take care of itself. When you're playing for the wrong reasons, things usually don't go your way. And so I'll continue to approach the game the way I've approached it every year. That's trying to be the best me I can be, contribute to the best team I could possibly contribute to, and make the team as good as I possibly can and win as many games as I can. Other than that, it's pretty irrelevant.
Last question, front row, far left, Tim.
Draymond, you answered a little bit this with Tim's question about the future, but with Durant signing another 1-year deal, is it a little bit up in the air in your mind whether this group is going to continue past that year? Is Kevin a little bit, who knows what he's going to do after this season?
No. I mean, I don't think about it like that. Also, I know I study the business side of the league. I don't just go play and say, oh, man, my agent will figure it out or anything like that. Like, I study the business side. So I could be reading it wrong, and if I am, I am. But me knowing the business side of things, I understand what he did. And, we'll see where it all ends up. But like I said, we're not going to enter the season saying, okay, signed a 1-year deal. What's next? What's next is this year. How are we going to approach this year? How are we going to get through this year? How good will we be? Will we three-peat? That's what's next. everything else after this year, if we're going to focus on that, we may as well save our body, save our time, save the stress of going through an NBA season. If that's what we're going to focus on, it's not the focus. Our focus is trying to win a championship this year, and what comes after this year, whether we want to focus on it or not, it's not coming until the year is over. So we need to embrace this year and try to win a championship, and I know that's everyone's goal coming through this door.